First, tonight, the city of Portland is one of only 2 in the entire country to have an on-staff organist. It's an honor that was recently bestowed on James Kennerley.
James Kennerley grew up in England and came to New York City, where he's been conducting, composing, and traveling the globe as an organist. Now he's the resident player in Portland, a city his wife introduced him to years ago. He
instantly fell in love with the city and the hidden gem inside Merrill Auditorium.
So I came really for the food and for the seaside and the beaches and the amazing beer, and I knew about the organ in Merrill, but I hadn't actually heard it before my audition. So I knew there was this really cool gem, but I never got to hear it on that trip.
What is it that makes this organ a gem?
Well, you can see all of these white things. These are the stops, these are the keyboards, and there are 270 of these, and there are 5 keyboards, and there's a pedal board on the floor. And having that many colors is one of the reasons that this organ is so special, that there's a whole range of sounds that goes from almost inaudible up to the loudest ear-splitting sound you'll ever hear.
When was it that you knew music was going to be in your life forever?
I think when we first got a piano in my house, I was about 7 or 8, and I would play it all the time. My parents had to have a lock fitted on the door because I would just be banging and banging and banging away. And then when I was about 10 or 11, I first heard the pipe organ and thought, right there and then, I was like, I've got to play that. I've got to have lessons. I've got to learn to do this, and the rest is history.
Growing up in England, the church James attended had 2 pipe organs. All he wanted was to play them.
I had a very strict teacher who said, you can look but don't touch. And I obviously had enough staying power in me to think, okay, I'm going to wait till my feet have grown, I can touch the pedals, I can reach the top keyboards, and I'll have the sense to behave and do good practice.
So how old were you when you were allowed to finally touch the organ?
I was about 16 when I got my first organ position. So I was music director at a local church, and would play for church services and hymns and solo organ music and things. And that's when I thought, now I'm there. I've reached it.
Do you remember what the first thing was that you played?
Yeah, I think I'll just show you here. It was probably a piece by J.S. Bach, the Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
An eerie and powerful sound that many organists love to play.
This is the original 5.1 surround sound with the sub bass. I mean, I can play a couple of the low notes for you.
Yeah, this is your entertainment console here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So these pipes, you can see the tallest ones at the very front. These are about 32 feet long, and some of them are 16 foot long. And if I just play a few notes, you'll hear this massive rumble. It's like a subway train traveling underneath. And if I pull out some louder ones here, it doesn't sound much like music, but when you couple that with the stuff with the keyboards, then it creates that amazing sound.
I love what you said before we started talking about how this is almost like setting a flight plan.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I fly up from New York City, and every time I get on the plane, I see the pilots are like looking at all the controls and working out, putting in their plots for the flight path they're going to take. It is exactly the same when I perform on the organ. And as I said, this organ is so unbelievably complicated. We have all of these sounds, all of these controls, these lights, the buttons here that control the sounds, and I can set all those up. So if I want to make an incredibly quiet sound, I might do something like this. And if I want to suddenly make it loud, I can just push that. Simple as that.
Portland is one of only 2 cities in the country with an organist on staff. It's not a full-time job for James, though, so he continues to stay busy conducting and composing in New York City. He does hope to eventually call this city his permanent home.
When I was given the title, which was back in September of last year, I had to go to the city council, and the mayor read this thing, and I was presented with the title, and it made me realize that this is a really big deal. And more cities used to have these positions now. There are only two, San Diego and Portland, and it's incredibly special, and it's an incredible honor.
When you're just at home hanging out, what do you listen to for music?
I listen to the most middle of the road anything. I love the Beatles, I love the Eagles, I love Elton John, all of these things I guess my parents that we had playing in the car when I was growing up, and I just think really good music with a really good tune, a really good beat. I do not listen to organ music in my spare time.
Although he did say sometimes he does. But not shocking that the guy from England listens to the Beatles or Elton John.
It never fails to amaze me how everybody listens to the Beatles.
Absolutely everyone.
Delightful guy.
He was so wonderful. He was wonderful to chat with, and he genuinely is passionate about that organ. And honestly, when I left, I was passionate about that organ. I was pumped on that thing.
Great socks, too.
Yes. So James Kennerley is hosting his very first concert as Portland's municipal organist on April 18th. You can hear some great classics, but also originals that he himself has composed.
Now, tomorrow on 207, he's going to give us a behind-the-scenes look at the Koczmar organ and what makes it such an impressive instrument. That is going to be cool.
Yes.